Okay, cool. So we talked about trend lines and where to look for entries and up trends and down trends and etc. But how do you actually draw a trend line? So there's probably different ways on how to do it. So I'm going to show you mine. There's two that I kind of look at. I kind of look at the overall trend. For example, we're looking at this 1 hour time frame right now. So this is going to go further back because it's less candles, right? Because each candle represents 1 hour. So it's going to be an overall trend. So, for example, here's a good low, and you can draw the trend to touch the other lows like this. As long as it's touching, I look for two or more touches. So there we go. And then that's the overall trend. So I will draw this so it connects to all charts. And then what I like to do is look at current trends and draw those lines as well. So again, top down analysis, I will go down to a lower time frame. For example, this is the 5 minute. And let me add more days to this just so we can see. 70 is good. All right, so now we have more days loading. We could see this is the trend line that I drew based on the hour time frame right here. But now we're looking at the 5 minute. So that's the overall trend. So meaning what I mean by overall trend is the higher time frames are still in an uptrend, but so they still respect this level until it's broken. And the shorter time frames, you could look for daily trends or hourly, whatever have you. So I'm going to show you how I like to do it, which is I will look at what the day is telling me. So, for example, this was what's today, the 10th. So there, we have a trend line we could draw right here, something like this, right? So we have one touch, two touch, three, four, five touches right there, right? So this is towards the end of the day where it's going to chop around. You don't have much volume, but throughout here, and that's at the end of the day. If we include just the open, that's around here because this is the 5 minute time frame. So we know that we are in a uptrend. And if you zoom in on the trend line, right, so you can actually get it even more perfect so that way it's more accurate. So I look for the wicks. Some people like to use the bodies, but for trend lines, I use the actual wicks. I don't use the bodies. I use the bodies in key levels and like support and resistance. I'll use the bodies. But in trend lines, I like to use the wicks or the shadows, whatever you refer to it as. So now if we zoom out, then that's a little bit more accurate because we still have our one touch, two touch, and three, four. So the wicks actually are a little bit more accurate because what the wicks entail is that price did get to that point. So it got to that, excuse me, it got to that point, and then there was a reaction to bounce off of that point. So that's why I like to look at the actual wicks instead of the bodies. The wicks are the ones that are doing the damage, and the bodies are telling the whole story. So what that means is the wicks came down, did some damage, maybe took out some stops here at the wicks, and then the body was like, yeah, but we're not actually going that way. The story is painting a picture of longs, so this is just fake out. So that's how I like to draw the trend lines, and you could do it as well on the hour chart as well to get it more accurate. You could zoom in and just check your trend, and look, we got touches. The first touch was all the way down here, all the way down here back in October, right? Because there's more days because they're bigger candles. But if you zoom in, you can see, let me just get this big. So you can see the touches, right? So we have a perfect touch here, perfect touch close. So what I mean by the wicks do the actual damage is, for example, when price, this is an hour candle here. So when price actually broke this trend, it just did damage. It got a lot of fake outs, right? So it got a lot of people thinking, oh, it broke the trend, so we're going to go short, but that's not actually what happened. So the wick is just telling you that, yeah, price came down here. We faked a lot of people out. We took some liquidity, and then we closed above this trend line. So that is still showing that price is respecting this trend line, and that is still long bias. Same thing happened here. Price got all the way down here, broke, and then closed above it. Same thing here, got below the trend, closed above it with a bullish engulfing candle, right? So at that point, you know that it's strong buyers in the market. And if you were a swing trader, you could have entered in on the close of this candle right here and got some great profits. So that's just the power of just having trend lines. If you just trade trend lines, um, based off of higher time frames and overall bias, yeah, you can make some great money. So that's just a little bit how I do my trend lines. So hop on the charts, load up whatever instrument you want to trade or look at, and just start drawing on the chart. Just draw your trend lines, connect it. I look for uh, three or more touches. What I mean by that is I look for the price, the trend line, to actually touch it multiple times, right? So you can see we have one touch, two touch, three, four, five touches, right? Or actually more if you actually get down into it. So yeah, this is a very strong trend line when you have that many touches. So I do look for three or more. So hop on the charts, draw some trend lines, and see what you come up with.